Well, thank you so much for presenting today. Please welcome Mr. Satoru Nakanishi.
Okay, so before I start, how much time do I have?
25 minutes
25 minutes.
plus Q&A.
Q&A, okay, 25 minutes, so that
5
means...
minutes of Q&A.
Okay.
Can you do it?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll make it fit into 25 minutes. All right, well, thanks so much for the opportunity. So today I want to talk about work. What is work? I have gone through some different type of works in my career. So these are the companies that I have worked for in the last 15 years. I've been a pastor of a church, Japanese Presbyterian Church in Seattle. So the title is Redefining Work, Lessons from My Journey from IT to Toyota to Pastoral Ministry. And today's talk, so I have talked here maybe 3 or 4 times before, and it was centered around Toyota production system. I told you about what Toyota does, so excels in their work. Why? Because of their Toyota production system. But today, I'm not gonna talk in details about Toyota. Rather, today's talk is gonna be more about my personal journey and how the concept of work has evolved through my career, through these companies and organizations. So today's talk is a little bit more personal, more conceptual, even philosophical, but by design. And because it is so, hopefully you may be able to apply it to your life and career. Okay, and this is my family. All of them are here today. And what is work? If I were to ask you what is work, how do you answer? What would your answer be? As I was growing up, many people have asked me, including my parents, of course, okay, what do you want to become when you grow up? How many of you have heard this question asked to you directly? Either by your friends, family, parents. Probably you've asked this question many times, and you have probably considered this question many times throughout your life. When I was an elementary school student, maybe 10 years old, I wanted to become a professional soccer player because I was really, really into playing soccer. When I was in middle school, I cannot remember what I wanted to become, but when I was in high school, when someone asked me, what do you want to become when you grow up? I always answered, oh, I want to become a translator or interpreter because I enjoyed studying English so much. And that was sort of like my dream to use English and Japanese. And after high school, I went to a college in Yokohama, Japan, and I majored in English literature. I was attending that school for 1 year and decided, okay, I'm having too much fun at this school, partying and drinking and not studying at all. Just like all my friends in the Japanese school system in college. So I decided I should find a part-time job. I should at least take advantage of the lot of free time I had and make some money. So the first job, one of the first jobs that I got was this. Domino's Pizza in Yokohama, Japan. This picture was taken exactly 30 years ago. So I'm 30 years younger. I was a delivery boy for this Domino's Pizza branch in Yokohama. And I really enjoyed that work because a lot of that work was just riding the 50cc scooter. And that was so much fun. And so what did I consider work at that time? Me being a freshman in college in Japan, doing Domino's pizza delivery. My conception of work, my understanding of work was, okay, I just want to make a lot of money. I just want to do an easy work. You know, no work is the best if I can do that, but easy and high-paying job. That's what I want. And Domino's Pizza delivery was actually pretty good. They were paying a pretty good hourly wage at that time, and it was fun.
How much was that?
It was close to, at that time, 30 years ago, close to 1,000 yen an hour.
Ooh.
That was pretty good, right? Okay, so so I attended that school in Yokohama only for 1 year, and I really wanted to go to school in the U.S. So I went to this college called Judson University. So I transferred to Judson University in Illinois, close to Chicago. And one of the main goals was to learn English. But I was in a dilemma at that school because I didn't know what to study. You know, I was there, my main goal was to study English. But if you go to college in the US, you have to select a major, right? And okay, I want to study English, but I don't know what to study in English. So for first year, I took different classes, and then I think it was second year I had to really select my major. And a lot of my friends at that time were majoring in business. So I thought, okay, sounds good. I guess business, can be a good major. And my host father, I had a host family, and my host father was also a businessman. So, okay, I'm going to major in business because, I don't know anything else to select. So I majored in business, and I ended up earning my BA in international business and marketing. And at this time in college at Judson, I also became a Christian. So that was one of the major turning points of my life. During my senior year in Judson, I had a really great opportunity to do an internship. And that internship was at United Airlines. You may know that United Airlines has a headquarters in Chicago. And my host father was actually working for United Airlines in the HR department. So within the HR department in the headquarters, there's an IT department, and my host father was a manager of the IT department within the HR. So he welcomed me as an intern, and I was very lucky to do an internship there. And I graduated from college, and I went back to Japan. So what did I expect my work to be? What is my goal? What was my aspirations for my work? And here it is. Well, everyone works, so I guess that means I have to as well. Number 2, I want to work to live. In other words, I wanna work so that I can earn my living. And number 3, I want to make a lot of money because a lot of money is better than less money. Number 4, I want to earn respect through my career. So I really wanted to work for a multinational, big corporation, well-known corporation, so that people around me will respect me. That was my basic motivation while I was looking for work in Japan, fresh out of college. And I ended up landing in a perfect job in Tokyo. I got hired by a company called Oracle. And Oracle was an IT, well, still is an IT company, information technology company. And when I was hired in 1998, that was in the midst of the IT bubble in Japan, especially. So, in case you didn't know, Oracle was at that time while I was working was a number 2 IT company after Microsoft. Today, it is number 6 after Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and NVIDIA, and what was the other one? Google. Yeah, Alphabet. That's right. Yeah. So Oracle is still a huge player in the IT world, especially cloud and database software. So and it was a very, very well-paying job as well for the first year out of college. And I was working in a very fancy office in Tokyo. So this job basically checked all the boxes of my motivations, right? And did I enjoy working there? No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I hated that job. I thought I liked it at first, but I hated it. It was such a long hours, very high pressure kind of environment. And I was working from 9 a.m. until 11, 12 p.m. Even sometimes after all the trains stopped, I had to get a taxi to home. And next morning, I just have to come with the lack of sleep, riding this crowded train and so forth. While I was working there through this high pressure, high stress level job, my thinking about work also shifted somewhat. And as I said, I was thinking I would work to live, to make a living. But it shifted gradually, but surely to like this. I live to work. Isn't that a cool animation? Can I do that again? I work to live, I live, or I work to live, that's right. I work to live, I live to work. So that was the major shift that was occurring within me, because working in Japan, the fast-paced environment, especially in the IT industry, it will really challenge you and really pushes you. And unless you have this kind of mentality, you're living to work, you won't survive. I mean, work has to be your religion, basically. Work has to be your life in order to even survive in that kind of environment. I can give you an example of my boss at that time in Oracle. So he was, I was already working for hours and hours, right? And he was working even longer than I was working. I've never seen him come to office because he was already there when I went to my office. I've never seen him leave the office because he always left later than I did. So I don't know how many hours of sleep he got. So I told him, I asked him one time, so I can't remember his name now, but he had 4 small kids, and I asked him, when do you see your kids? They're so small, they need you. And his answer was this: okay, I cannot see them during the weekdays, none. And then on Saturdays, I just collapse all day long. I cannot wake up, so I don't see my kids on Saturdays. The only time I can see my kids are on Sundays only. And he said, and I think that's enough. That's that kind of mentality, living to work. Because he was so successful in his work, He was very productive. He was very successful. The company, Oracle, awarded him a free Hawaii trip with his wife. Everything is paid for. Airplane tickets, hotels, meal, everything is included. You would think that he would be happy, right? No. He actually declined. He said, I'd rather be staying in my office and work. That is that kind of mentality. And I almost fell off my chair when he said that. And I thought, no, I can't survive here. I don't want to be working here anymore. So next, I changed my job and started to work for Toyota's supplier, Delphi Automotive Systems, and I was working directly with the Toyota engineers, purchasing, and Toyota plants in Japan. So I relocated to near Nagoya and city called Toyota City. That's where the Toyota's headquarters is located. And that's where I was steeped in Toyota production system that I told you about before. And I'm gonna just touch on that briefly today. And what is the work mentality of Toyota? It is problem solving. We solve problems all day, every day. That's what Toyota employees say. From the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid in the organization. If you ask any Toyota employees, okay, what is your work? Well, of course they make cars, but their mentality is, no, actually, we just solve problems every day. That's it. That's all they do. That's what they're really, really good at. And you've probably heard a term, Kaizen. That's a Japanese word. You can say that in English too nowadays. Kaizen, and people will understand what that means. Continuous improvement. So you just keep solving problems. And that's what they do, and that's what they're really good at. And in order to understand how to solve the problems, you have to first define, okay, how do you define problems? And Toyota defines like this. Problems are the gap between target state and current state. Some of you may remember when I talked about this before. And this is one of the greatest wisdom that I've learned from working with Toyota. Problem solving, continuous improvement, and so forth. And remember, at this time, I was already in this mentality. Okay, I'm living to work, right? My life completely depends on my work. Actually, my work is my identity. That was my mentality for 6 years working with Toyota. And then I realized, once again, okay, I am not really interested in making cars. I'm not really interested in making cars. And this question came to my mind. What am I supposed to do? So all these years in my career, I was focused on what do I want to do? Okay, I want a easy, fun job. I want to make a lot of money. I want a high social status. I want people to respect me and so forth. And by this time, that kind of wore off. And it shifted to another question. Not what do I want to do, but what am I supposed to do? Do you know the difference? So at that time, I was a Christian. I was pretty active in my church. And another way of rephrasing this question is, what is my calling? What is God calling me to do? I've done everything I wanted to do, but what is God calling me to do? So that was a key question for me, and I also asked this question being a Toyota person. Okay, what is the problem that I should solve? Remember the first question that I asked you. What do you want to become when you grow up? Right? So the question that we're so familiar with. But actually, that's not a very good or helpful question. The really important question is, what problem in this world, in your life, or for the people around you, what problem do you want to solve? So I actually stopped asking my kids, who are here right now, what do you want to become in the future? But instead, I asked them, okay, what problem in this world do you want to solve? Have you thought about that as you think about your career? That's a very, very good question to ask. All right, so I quit my job. There's a long story about how I ended up quitting my job, but for the next time. Okay, and I moved on to study at Regent College in Canada. I felt called to become a pastor. Pretty drastic career change. And I found this school in Vancouver, Canada. And it is a graduate school to train future pastors. And I attended there for 4 years. One of the very influential books that I read during this school was this. The title, Let Your Life Speak, written by Pastor Parker Palmer. And the gist of the book is exactly what the title is. Let your life speak, and you should be attentive to how your life is speaking to you, from the Christian perspective, of course. So, for example, what is your personality? What are you good at? What do you love? What kind of problems in this world do you naturally focus on? All these things are the result of God's special creation in you, special wiring that God has put in you. So I would highly, highly recommend this book, and it was a very timely for me to ask this question during my school years at Regent College. Knowing yourself is very, very important. Your personality, what you love, not what you think you love, but what do you really love. Like I thought I really love working for an IT company. I thought I loved working for Toyota. But several years later, I found out, no, I actually don't love those things. And I found out that I really love reading the Bible, studying the Bible. I really love teaching the Bible and caring for God's people. And apparently I'm okay at it. All right. And then after graduation from the school, in 2009, I became a pastor of Seattle Presbyterian Church in Seattle. And I've been here since then, so 16 years. And what I've learned through all my career is that all the experiences that I had at an IT company, the car company, school, everything is useful. So God is really using the computer skills that I acquired, the finance skills. At Oracle, I was selling the financial systems. So I had to learn about the finance, and I'm using that skill now, being a pastor. Project management skills and interpretation, I do a lot of interpretation too, being a pastor. So it's just amazing that how everything makes sense in God's hands. Okay, so I want to share a Bible verse with you, which is very important and dear to my heart recently. Christ, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Knowing Christ, knowing God is key in all of that. And let me explain. This is a slide that my friend shared with me. And it kind of captures what I shared today. And I kind of agree with this man. So I'll give you a few minutes to kind of digest what it says. So you need to understand the four areas. Okay, so this area. What do you love? Okay. What do you really love? Number 2, what are you good at? Number 3, well, you have to be paid for it. And then number 4, what does the world need? And the area that overlaps right here, I would say it is your calling. And what I said, for example, finding a gap, what problem do you want to solve, is right here. Understand yourself. Let your life speak. What do you really love is right here. What are you great at? Again, you have to really listen to yourself and others around you to find out what you're really good at. So these 3 areas that I talked to you about today. And in order to accurately grasp these 3, my contention is that you have to know God. You have to know God, who created you, who knows you, and who created this world. Without knowing God, you cannot accurately gauge exactly what you love, exactly what you're good at, and exactly what kind of problem that world is facing right now, and you want to contribute somewhat to solve it. Okay, so that is what I have today. I hope it was helpful as you consider your work and career. And here's my contact information right here, my email, my line, my YouTube channel. And if you like to contact me, you're very much welcome to. And if you'd like to know more about God, which is the most important part of my speech today, I would love to talk to you and hopefully share some, lessons from the Bible. All right, thank you so much for your time. Okay, 2 hours time, do we have time for that?
That was 26 minutes, right on the money.
26 minutes. All right.
So we have 5 minutes to ask questions.
Awesome.
Come on, students. This is your
Okay,
time.
5 minutes of discussion, questions, and answers. Hi.
What would be like a one tip?
Just wait a second.
What would be a tip that you would give to the college student, like when you were studying in Judson School, I believe? Yeah. Like what would you think would be a good phrase that you would have known or would have learned back then that you would like to share to a student if you had a chance to go back?
Yeah. Good question. So number 1, I wish for myself I had known God more earlier and better. And number two, I would encourage you to pursue your passion first. Just try to do what you think you love. And you may find out later, oh, I actually don't love it. Right? And that's fine. You can always change your course. And once you find out you don't enjoy certain things, you don't have to think about it anymore. Right? And then you can focus on another thing. Number three, also focus on the question, what problem do you want to solve? I didn't have a perspective at that time. I was only thinking about me. But what is the problem? What is the issues that you want to solve? That's my tips. Yes, Dan.
We've been having some conversations about identity.
Mm-hmm.
You said identity once in the thing, but can you connect what you said with finding who your identity?
Your identity. Oh, that's such a deep topic. Identity is your understanding of who you really are. So if I ask you, who are you? How would you answer? What would your answer be? You'll probably say your name, right? Oh, my name is so-and-so. That's probably the first thing that comes out of your mouth. What is the second thing? Oh, I'm Japanese, maybe. Oh, I'm 50 years old. You probably won't say your age, right? But what would you say? But even though it may be hard to articulate clearly and quickly, you probably have a very deeply seated feeling or understanding of who you really are. And that is important because that's the source of all your actions and all your words. So I'm calling this identity marketing. So I think a lot of companies use this identity marketing nowadays. So one of the examples is that one of the K-pop idols, they call their fans, twice, right? Twice. So how do they call their fans? Do you know? Once, right? So they call hi once, and then that becomes their identity. Oh, I'm this idol group Twice's fan, and I'm special because I'm called once, and we are called once. And now that that becomes their identity, they will stay as Twice's fan for a long time because that's who they are. Does that make sense? So I'm calling it identity marketing. So hopefully that makes sense. And for Christians, for us, our identity is in Christ. So when I'm asked about a question of, okay, what's your identity? I usually quote a Bible verse from Galatians. I am crucified with Christ. I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. So that is my ideal target as my identity. I don't know if that answers your question, but hopefully that was making sense. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, please.
So thank you for the wonderful lesson. And my question is, what kind of problem do you want to solve? And in terms of that, did you consider telling the story in Japan, telling the story of God in Japan?
Yes, thank you for that question. So what problem do I so So being a Christian and my vision automatically connects to God's vision. What does God hope in this world? And from the Bible, the biggest problem that we have, according to the Bible, is our rebellion against God, our sin. And I cannot solve the problem, but I know who has solved the problem, which is Jesus Christ. So I want to make my contribution in the problem-solving process done by Jesus Christ to proclaim Jesus Christ through the body of Christ, which is the church. And like this, talking about my work, my career, my experience, my identity, and the message of Jesus Christ to as many people as possible. Why not in Japan? Is the second question. I actually thought about going back to Japan and look for a job in Japan as a pastor, but because I went to college in the US and graduate school in Canada, and I was bilingual, then I had more options to look for the best fit in terms of my gifts, my abilities, and opportunities. And I feel like God has led me to this particular church in Seattle for this time. Okay?
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you. Well, it's time for ride coordination. Ken, thank you.
Sure, I'll be really quick. Dan, can you raise your hand? You'll be taking back Itsuki, Satoru. You'll be taking back Hiro, Shion, and Akane. Baram.
Yeah.
You'll be taking back Satoshi, Kathy. You'll be taking back Nanaka, Lynn. You'll be taking back Yutaro and Motoki, and Mark. You'll be taking back Ayana.